Welcome to a new episode. I hope you enjoy it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Cabil, the son of Adam, peace be upon him, was the first to disobey, commit murder, blaspheme, and when he killed his brother, he fled from that mountain with his sister. He built a village called Khaulawa and settled there. Cabil was the first to worship fire, and it is said that he was the most wretched of creatures and bore half the punishment of creation. It is also said that whoever sheds blood without just cause becomes a partner in that crime. Sheth, the son of Adam, was sent by God to his father's offspring and was revealed to him and his father in 27 scrolls. He was commanded to build the house Kaaba in the Hijaz region, and he and his son were commanded to perform Hajj and Umrah. He was the first to perform Umrah, and he commanded the offspring of Cabil to engage in fighting, but he did not leave the area between Tihama and Mecca. Anush, the son of Sheth, peace be upon them, was his firstborn and successor. Among the descendants of Aturkan, the son of Sheth, were Yagath, euqab, Nasr, Suwa, and Wood. They were righteous people, and when they died, their children mourned them greatly. Satan appeared to them and presented them with marble statues resembling their loved ones, which they placed in their homes to remember and console themselves and alleviate their grief. When their descendants multiplied and others came after them, Satan deceived them by claiming that these statues were deities and that their forefathers used to worship them. They were enticed by this deception and began to worship them. Sheth lived for 700 years, and he was 105 years old when he had his son. And he, Sheth, advised his son Chinon, and his knowledge was of the scrolls, and he explained to him the division of the land and its contents. He commanded him to establish prayer, pay zakat, and perform hajj. He also commanded him to engage in fighting, as his father had commanded him, and Chinon did as he was instructed. Chinon lived for 720 years, and he advised his son Mahalalel and entrusted him with the same instructions. Mahalalel lived for 895 years and 75 days. Mahalalel advised his son Jared and taught him the scrolls and the division of the land, as well as the happenings in the world. He handed him the book, Secrets of the Kingdom, which was given to him by King Mahalalel, who learned it from Adam, peace be upon them, and they passed it down as a sealed book that they did not open. Lamech was born to Jared when he was 162 years old. Some historians claim that during his time, the world reached a duration of 2,640 years and 4 months. Enoch, also known as Prophet Idris, peace be upon him, was informed and named by Allah due to his extensive study of the Book of Allah Almighty and the religious laws. Allah, the Exalted, revealed 30 scrolls to him, completing the 30 scrolls on that day. The covenant was passed from Jared to Enoch, and his father's testament and the knowledge that was with him were entrusted to him. He was also given the Book of Secrets, which was not given to anyone after Sheth except Enoch, peace be upon them. According to some accounts, he was the first among the offspring of Adam, peace be upon him, to engage in writing. Others state that no generation or nation was left without the knowledge of writing because prophethood became apparent in Enoch, and he possessed knowledge of various scripts. He commanded the compilation of the scriptures and left them in the temple. He instructed the children of Adam and others to study them. Some accounts mention that they used to wear priestly garments made of luxurious silk, linen, and other fabrics adorned with gold. They also wore crowns. Eve was commanded to weave and spin, so she spun cotton, linen, and wool, and she wove and clothed her children. Adam, peace be upon him, wore garments made from Eve's weaving. It is said that when Idris, peace be upon him, was born, the worship of idols weakened among the descendants of Cabil. One of their great idols, whom they used to worship, revere, and sacrifice to, fell down. Their king at that time was alarmed, so they gathered to discuss what had happened. Then Iblis came to them in the form of an elderly man with abundant gray hair. Gray hair was astonishing to them because they had never seen it before. Gray hair only appeared among them after the time of Prophet Noah, peace be upon him, following the flood. It is also said that the first person to have gray hair was Abraham, peace be upon him. He asked, "O Lord, what is this?" Allah replied, "It is dignity." Ibrahim said, "O Allah, increase me in dignity." It is said that Iblis came to them in the form of a spiritual being with wings. He told their king, Umahal, "A child has been born to Mahalalel, who will become an enemy to the gods and an enemy to the kingdom. The corruption you are preoccupied with is caused by him." Umahal asked, "Can you bring about his destruction?" Iblis replied, "I will do my best." Then Allah assigned angels to protect Idris, so when Iblis and his soldiers approached, the angels prevented them from reaching him. In his time, a planet from the wandering planets appeared, remaining visible for 33 days. His father built a temple for him and taught him the scriptures. He was diligent in studying them, as well as in fasting and prayer, until he reached the age of 40. Then Allah Almighty granted him knowledge and wisdom for 40 years. The angel Ruhail came to him and taught him about astronomy, the planets, their movements, orbits, and the shapes of constellations and zodiac signs. It is said that he was the first to observe the stars after Prophet Adam, peace be upon him. In the Torah, it is mentioned that Idris, peace be upon him, served Allah excellently, so Allah elevated him to himself. When Idris witnessed the people of Cabil indulging in sins and idol worship, he asked Allah to raise him to himself and purify him from his sins. Allah answered his request and inspired him to dwell in the temple with his followers for 40 days. Idris also entrusted his son, Methuselah, with a special instruction, as Allah had revealed to him to include the instruction in Methuselah, for from his descendants a prophet would emerge who would do what is pleasing to Allah. It is said that Idris was ascended to the seventh heaven, and there are accounts mentioning his encounter with the angel of death. He asked Allah to taste death, and then he asked Allah to show him his pleasure and admit him into paradise. Allah granted his requests, and he did not leave paradise. Allah elevated him when he was 150 years old. As for Methuselah, he resided with his brothers, the sons of his brother, in front of the temple, worshipping Allah Almighty along with the 70 chosen leaders. After Allah elevated Idris, peace be upon him, differences and disputes increased, and Iblis spread rumors that he had perished. He claimed that Idris was a priest who attempted to ascend to the heavens and was consequently burned. The descendants of Adam, who adhered to his religion, were deeply saddened by this news. They showed hostility towards their greatest idol and destroyed it. As a result, they intensified their worship of idols, adorned them, and offered sacrifices to them. They established a festival that no one would miss, and at that time, they had 7 idols: Goth, Euqab, Nasar, Wad, Suwa, Mazahi, and Damar. We will mention them in more detail when discussing the worshipped idols. Revelation ceased after Idris, peace be upon him, and those chosen leaders passed away. Whenever one of them died, his children and family would create an image of him in their house to remember him and seek forgiveness for him. When his death approached, he entrusted his son Lamech with the responsibility of preserving the legacy. Lamech was the one who built the first mosque, and his father handed over to him the sealed scriptures and books that belonged to Idris, peace be upon him. Methuselah lived for 900 years. The responsibility was then passed on to Lamech, who was the father of Noah, peace be upon them. Lamech had a vision of a fire coming out of his womb, which would later engulf the world. He also saw another vision, as if he were on a tree in the middle of a sea, with nothing else around. Thank you for your attentive listening. I hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next episode.